right? Aren't we simulating the fact that there might be an audience? Well, what I mean is that in our camera voice, if Travis and I are having a conversation, we're having a conversation. And I was basically stating that, hey, instead of us having a conversation with them, we would have a conversation with ourselves. But in reality, I introduce ourselves to them so they're there. I'm just simulating the fact that someone's there. This isn't just a podcast. It's a reminder of what makes America stronger isn't a headline or a hashtag.
It's people, from the ones building our homes to the ones rebuilding their lives.
Veterans, tradesmen, neighbors, and volunteers. Real people doing real things.
Here we find common ground first, and then we work on our differences.
This is the Collective Perspective Podcast,
where purpose, people, and progress meet.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Collective Perspective Podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm here with my best friend Travis. What's up?
What's up, Jeff? What's up, everybody out there?
The reason I'm laughing is because we were just talking about how, and the topic is simulacra and simulation, but we were just talking about how, in a lot of ways, we're simulating that you, the audience, is there by talking to you like I am right now and not Travis. Right, Travis?
Yeah.
See how I switched it there? It's like I'm talking to someone that's not actually there. So I think we should try to focus on just talking to each other.
Yeah, and I think for the most part we do.
So Travis, this episode today is about simulacra and simulation. Do you know what simulacra means?
I've kind of feel like I've heard a lot of words, but this one I had really genuinely had no idea what this word meant. I had an idea because of the breakdown of the word, but I've never heard it used in my circles anyway.
Sounds like something you would hear on a commercial for some type of cream aid to help with some fungus or something.
Or something Chris Rock says when he's crack-a-lacking.
Simulacra. We're really talking about simulation. So we all know what simulation means.
To simulate or represent reality. So this dude, Jean Baudrillard, I guess that's how you say it. That's what it seems like on the webs these days. Came up with his seminal piece called Simulacra and Simulation, I believe. Not sure when he wrote this paper, but he went into depth about the differences and when reality becomes blurred and the simulation takes over, or the simulation takes over.
So simulacra refers to copies or representations of something that already originally existed.
And simulation happens when they become replaced.
Well, from what I understand, Travis,
when you replace the original experience.
Right. So there's a cycle. So in today's society, in the way that you interact with customer service, in the way that you interact on the phone or a computer, you almost often wonder, am I listening or am I having a conversation with someone, or is it just a bot? That bot is simulating someone doing a job. It's not a real person, but it represents what a real person would be like if they were to talk to you.
Suggesting that we're interacting with images, narratives, and digital copies or versions instead of direct reality. So I don't know that the call center one and the bots would be a good example.
Well, it says that the definition of what a simulacra is, or simulacra is the phases of simulation, right?
Okay. So simulacra is a simulated or a representation of reality, but then there are phases to it when it becomes more important or more recognized.
We can talk about the phases here in a second, but the phases, think of simulation is the end goal. and simulacra is the process to simulation, right?
Okay.
So it can be explained when the first phase is reflection of reality. So, like we talked about what it is, right? It's an image or representation that reflects something that truly exists.
So it documents or mirrors reality.
Right. And here's where, for example, like Disney theme parks are already in simulation because, for example, Main Street is an example of what the street of some town in the United States would look like in the early 1900s, but it never really existed. So it's not really a simulacra phase, it's pure simulation, if that makes sense. Right? It's already hit the simulation phase because it's something that doesn't exist.
Did it ever exist?
It never existed. The Disney Main Street
But
never existed in the United States. It's meant to be a replica, but it's not a replica of anything. Distortion of reality. So,
still on the reflection of reality, even though what you said about Main Street not being a real street, but every part of it that was there is based on reality, something that was there but is no longer or never was in that, say, configuration that you're seeing in Main Street. But reality is still a reference point for that simulation. And a photograph would be a good example of a simulacra because it captures a moment without any other distortion, without any context, without anything. It's just a picture of that reality at that time.
Is distortion of reality. And that's a representation that still refers to reality but begins to shape perception.
And I think that's where context comes into play with say editing, framing, filtering of the lights. It can change how everything appears in the picture.
A good example of this phase of simulation is in Disney in particular, not to pick on Disney, but Disney Parks is one of the biggest representations of simulation. More advanced for everybody else through other means with AI, but Disney has been pure simulation for its existence.
Well, I think Disney's simulation is to be wholesome and to highlight all of the good and fun things that happen on a day-to-day.
So if we go into phase 3, representation pretending to be reality. So this claims authenticity even though the experience is staged.
So, a lot of this really...
See how we're going through the steps now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting deeper and deeper into being a simulation.
Which we've been in for a long time.
You mentioned Bill and Ted's Adventure.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
What is that concept you're talking about?
I was just thinking that I don't know that it's more like a simulation type of thing. It's more of a, well, there you go. It's a representation. Could be a representation. I feel like we're putting out content now that hasn't been widely recognized, but in the future we could be the rock stars of the show. We're just laying the groundwork now, and we haven't realized that full potential yet.
Kind of just goes back to like people that advise us, hey, we love what you're doing, don't stop. And so we're not going to stop. But we're going to represent reality and not pretend to be reality. I don't know. You want to hear the Disney version of representation pretending to be reality?
Sure, throw it on.
Cinderella's castle perspective. What it represents is a massive fairy tale castle. In reality, castles used forced perspective, so the top sections are smaller. Why it matters, the architecture is used intentionally to create the illusion of scale. So there's no castle that could, I think what that's saying is that there's no castle that could be possibly built that way, because when you get to the top, the rooms get smaller and smaller and smaller. So like, how are you going to get up there, and why would you even have that?
Well, yeah, for them, they have a limited space to make their playground, if you will. So they use scaling to make it look more grand, bigger when you're, say, close up on it. It looks like it's out of reach still.
Yep. Guess what, Travis? The next phase is pure simulation. So the representation no longer refers to the original event. The simulation becomes its own system.
Well, I know we're picking on Disney a little, but that was all supposed to be fairy tale and made up stuff anyway. So, especially when it comes to Cinderella's castle and, say Beauty and the Beast and all of that stuff. So that would have always been a simulation.
Man, you're not going to believe what the Disney, what it says here. Guests experiencing the park through their phones. So what is that? How are you going to experience Disney through your phone?
I think that it's made for maybe not just phones, for pictures, for cameras, and that's kind of the world we're moving towards these days. You go to a concert and you see nothing but phones held up over people's heads to record the event, and people are experiencing it through that, not in the moment though. They make sure they get the right shot and what they're looking for, and then when they go home, then they experience it. I think that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, man, that's pure simulation. So it's funny you say that because many people experience the park by capturing memories, right? So a lot of them capture memories of the moment through their phone. They don't actually, they're looking at their phone and what it looks like in their phone and not actually looking to see what it really looks like in real. And then they take it home and then they listen, then they watch it and it's not as great. Like my son was saying that he was excited to see how big Cinderella's castle was, because on screen when he's watching on YouTube, it doesn't look that big. But he knows when he gets there, the perspective is going to change.
And he may be surprised that it still doesn't look that big when you get up close to it.
Yeah.
There's another part to that. The first time he may have seen it, have you guys been yet?
He hasn't.
Yeah, you were born in the other
live
place.
45 minutes away from Disney.
I've
been to Disney World 4 times.
I lived 45 minutes away from it too, but we were on opposite sides of the country. But yeah,
mine was created first.
Well, as a young child, when you're small, things look huge. Going to it now and taking a look at everything around you, it looks much smaller than you remembered it.
So in simple ways, Travis, I want you to look at this. You can remember the 4 phases like this. Phase 1 is reality is shown. Phase 2, reality is edited. Phase 3, reality is staged. Stage 4, reality disappears. Isn't that scary?
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. Reality disappears. So what point in our lives, our human lives, the human history, are we just not going to have reality anymore? It's all going to be pure simulation. I don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime, Travis.
Reality is what the winners make it.
In a Bill and Ted's Adventure type of way, I would tell you in the future that you should stop using your cell phones.
So, I think another way to really look at it is in the social media world. Phase 1 being genuine moments are shared of someone's life. Phase 2, it becomes edited, filtered, somehow altered. Phase 3, moments are specifically staged for content. You see people doing this all over the place. In stage 4, their complete online persona may not represent who they are in real life. We're all actors on a stage.
Social media is one of the clearest examples of where identity becomes curated presentation.
Totally. Everybody's using almost everybody's using some sort of filter to enhance image.
Do you use a filter, Travis, when you put a picture up?
I don't.
You know what? I don't even put pictures up. No, actually, I put videos, but I don't put a filter on our video. What you see is what you see. Just some lighting and good-looking guys.
There you go.
So also there's an influencer culture. Often sells an image in a life rather than real experience. I could tell you that my son and I, we watch a lot of online influencers, but I think there's some of them that are, well, Mr. Beast, for example, or Ryan Trahan. Ryan Trahan, they have their own candy companies. They do all types of different things, charity events and stuff like that. I don't know about the other influencers. I think maybe I stay away from them.
Well, I think it depends on what kind of influencer you're watching. I watch a lot of car influencers, and I'm sure they've curated and they do edit their videos to get their point across or to get their message out there. So, it's not really representative of their real life because we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And I think that's a big important lesson to take from this is that what is often on camera is very different from what goes on behind the scenes.
What do you think? Why people feel like feel like simulation is the way to go? Is it
to coin a phrase from a long time ago? Image is everything.
The image of a rebel. Change lenses. You've got the rebel camera. Now push it. With the whole line of EOS lenses. Hit it, Andre.
Image is everything.
EOS Rebel and lenses from Canon. So advanced.
So, hey, Travis, what did you think about that video?
Well, I think it was the precursor to what we're seeing today. It's a lot about editing and image capture. It started back with that, what was it, Canon, the camera company, the EOS Rebel, because they were breaking the rules.
Rebels.
How to get good pictures and be able to use that data and manipulate your edit your pictures to make them look the way you wanted them to. And that was a big selling point. Andre Agassi was a big part of that culture because image was everything. It still is everything, even though people don't want to admit it. That's why there's filters on everything on social medias these days.
I think it also comes down like people want to capture what's going on more than they want to. They realize that they should just be experiencing what they're experiencing.
Oh, totally. You see that on a lot of caught on camera type of videos that are on TV these days, where people are more inclined to record the event instead of actually helping someone or assisting someone in it. I think the diffusion of responsibility has gotten greater because people want to get their phone out and be the first to record it to get the likes and the views.
I think another reason why is because they find that it's easier. So, for example, they can purely simulate training these days. They can purely simulate customer service. They can purely simulate a lot of things. And it's all because it's easier. And we understand that technology and hey, time is money. So if you can have something technology-wise that represents what a human is and they get the customer service that they want, but it always kind of just leaves you like, man, I'm not really even talking to someone. This person has no authority. Who benefits most from simulated experiences?
Who benefits most? I think the producer of the experience would be the one that's going to benefit the most from it. Again, back to Disney. Disney's obviously going to make something that they're going to benefit or profit from because that's ultimately what it comes down to, how much they can make money, how much money they can make, whether it be someone like Disney or an influencer or a podcast. They want to maximize profits and get the most out of their investment. They want to get the highest ROI.
So then there's the opposite of that, right? Like, who is the most affected by having to try to live up to this digital persona?
Yeah, the end user of the simulation is going to be the one that's most affected by it, whether in a positive way or not. I think many times we see, and this has been going on for a long time, self-image, body image. People try to put down this, or not put down, people try to promote this positive body image. What do they call it? Positivity, body positivity instead of body shaming. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
So, when everything we see online is all the perfect people with completely symmetric jawlines and their teeth are exactly perfect in their mouth, those are things that are unrealistic because no one is perfectly symmetrical. And it can really hurt the psyche of someone who's going through a tough spot in their life by showing an ideal that no one can achieve. And they think that because they're so far away from it, they give up or they go into some depression. So, I think the perfect simulation can hurt people more than help in some instances.
There's nothing like reality, the real feeling of love, the real feel of touch, that real connection that you have with humans. I think you should value that. We don't want to leave you off with like, hey, this is doom and gloom. We're talking about this could be a very down the rabbit hole conversation, but I felt like we've kept it to just being real, just something that you should probably pay attention to. Get off your phone. So, hey, we thought we'd let you off with a little positivity if this sounded negative, like I said, but how can people reconnect with authentic experiences? I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it is. Just turn off the phone, get out there and stop and smell the roses. Have a reality check.
I mean, it kind of even says, turn off this podcast and go do something else.
We won't be mad at you.
We won't manage you. Hey, but in the future, Bill and Ted, just so you know, gotcha. You need to listen to this all the way through, okay? So we're going to tell you how do you recognize when you're interacting with simulation instead of reality.
That's a good question. How do you recognize that?
I think it's pretty easy, man. Put your device down. Go do something else. Go interact with nature. Go for a walk.
What do the kids say these days? Go touch grass.
Go touch grass. Does that mean like get the heck out of here?
Yeah, like go get grounded.
Go fly a kite. How about that? What role does intentionally living play in breaking the cycle of being in a simulation? So, Travis, we complain like, oh my gosh, we're going to become a simulation. We're so worried about it. We're so worried about it. Well, what are you doing about it? Not you, Travis, but what are you doing about it? Look, you're on your phone right now. I'm just kidding.
Those are notes, dude.
I know.
Part of the simulation. What can we do about it now? Just that. Go interact with your neighbors. Go talk to I've said this before. When you're at the grocery line, just have a chat with the cashier as they are ringing you out. It's easy. Make that connection. It'll lighten their day up and it might make you a little more happy too.
So, hey, we hope you enjoyed this podcast of the Collective Perspective Podcast. In the future, when we've had millions of likes and comments on this because it helped you, you're welcome.
And have a good day.
Peace.